right. Welcome to the PropLinq AI podcast, where we explore how real estate founders, operators, and innovators are building faster, smarter, and more sustainable businesses by embracing technology and challenging traditional playbooks. I'm Stuart Quintal, founder of PropLinq AI, an AI business helping real estate companies modernize their lead generation, marketing, and back-end systems. Now, today, I'm joined by Jim Sanderson, co-founder of Cascade Real Estate Group. They're a boutique real estate commercial brokerage based in the Midwest of the USA with a specialty in multifamily assets. Jim brings a deep financial acumen to the table with a CCIM designation and a focus on making sure that every deal his team touches is backed by clear, data-driven underwriting and well-structured marketing. Jim, thanks for joining us. I've been looking forward to this one.
Thank you, Stuart. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, now let's just jump straight into it. Let's find out a bit about your background, what led you into real estate originally, and how did Cascade Real Estate come to be?
Sure. So went to a university with business, just general business degree. Got involved in real estate. Just some of my friends were starting to start their careers and pointed me towards that as a specialization towards the end of my 4-year degree. And so bachelor's degree in business administration with a focus in land use and real estate economics, I believe was the full title. Began my career as a property manager with CBRE here in Omaha, Nebraska. So working on different multifamily office retail. I really was introduced to just about every asset class that is out there and got a taste of everything. Found that was not really what I wanted to do, and so got away from real estate for a little bit. Came back to it because I missed kind of deal flow and action and hunting. The winning aspect of brokerage, I guess, is what really attracted me to come back. So came back in 2016 after a hiatus and got involved with CCIM, kind of learned how to underwrite and structure deals and negotiation tactics, all of that to just make myself feel like I could go out and win deals and represent my clients the best I could. And I was doing more and more deals with similar like-minded people and working on the same types of deals and assets, and kind of just formed some good relationships with some of the investors. And one of them happened to be my now current co-founder partner, Stephen Sykes, who is doing investing. Just found out that we worked well together and enjoyed closing deals. So we founded Cascade Commercial together and been doing that since 2021.
What does your role look like on a day-to-day now as a co-founder?
Sure. So my main focus is on commercial real estate investment sales. And so, I mean, somebody put it really well. You can boil that down into 3 steps. You're either finding the business, you're winning the contract, whether that's representing them as a buyer or a seller, and then you're moving forward to execution. So making sure that the deal closes. And so, yeah, finding, winning, or executing are kind of the 3 main aspects of what we do. And every activity has to fall into one of those 3 buckets, or you're probably wasting your time.
So you're still quite active in deals?
Yes, very, yeah. So probably my main focus is the marketing and listing of properties. Once we're able to find and win the client and we are representing someone either as a buyer or seller, then it's data and analysis as far as, if we're listing it, how do we market this? What are the best points to really stress to the market, and what do we highlight? For buyer, usually it's a lot of due diligence and finding out if the deal really does work, how to finance it, get insurance, physical inspections, everything like that comes into play.
Speaking of clients, what sort of clients or what sort of asset groups are you typically involved with, and has that evolved over time?
Sure. I think most people in my line of work start on a smaller scale. Like, we're looking for clients that may have, lesser experience, and you're you and your clients kind of grow together as you have more time and experience in the industry. So when you're new, you start off with newer investors. They may be buying single family and flipping, or they may be getting a very small multifamily, and then hopefully you grow together and work up into bigger, more complex deals. And I've certainly seen that in my career path, where the deals get a little bigger and the clients get a little more money behind them, and maybe bring on some partners, and things just grow from there. We're typically looking for either owners of properties that may have some motivation or reason to sell. Um, the pricing in the market that we're seeing right now doesn't really lend itself to, oh, I'll take a crazy price if somebody's willing to pay it. And those deals just don't really happen anymore because of the cost of funding and just how the market has evolved since the post-pandemic. So, some motivation to sell, or a very active buyer who's looking to either expand what they have or possibly break into the market. The Midwest has seen a lot more interest from the coasts and other regions, even outside the United States lately. So we're enjoying kind of a little bit of a rising star status for the Midwest in investing.
Now, 2021, that's like an interesting time in our more recent history.
Yes.
From I guess, launching a business, but also scaling and growing, and like, what was your approach to growth? So that 2021 period and
Sure.
onwards.
Well, post pandemic was, an interesting way of putting it is interesting. Yeah, it was different for everybody, and everybody was trying to figure out the new dynamics, the new shift. We actually added 2 or 3 other brokers during that time because just deal volume, and we're down to just now 3, myself, my partner, and one other. And so, things changed, paths changed. There was not any real blow up of anything like that. Just careers changed and opportunities came up. But that's one of the ways brokerages grow typically, is to add additional brokers that either specialize in some other asset class or bring some specialty or expertise that you don't already have in-house. And so we're always looking for somebody that matches kind of what we have as far as culture and work ethic and drive, but may bring some new skill to the table.
Now, getting into like the now, the sort of a today environment, what's working really well for you in business right now?
Right now, we're kind of pushing into a adjacent city, so it's a little bit different of a market. Still in the same state, but another city that's about half the size of Omaha. But we've been able to find a lot of the smaller multifamily asset class there. It's kind of that sweet spot where it's easy to find, easy to fund. There's lots of inventory, but it's maybe a little too small for the large groups to really devote a lot of attention to. And so a little bit less competition, especially from outside groups. So we've been finding a nice niche there with the, under, say, 40 units in the next city over from where we're based out of. So that's really where we're trying to put a lot of our focus for the next 6 months.
Now, like, getting into that sort of newer market, is there any sort of process or platform or strategy that's helped launch
really
you into
just
that
trying.
market?
Yeah, sure. Making the connections. Every market has their players, and just slightly different way of doing things. And so trying to get up to speed on, you need to talk to, there's always Bob that you need to talk to down the hall, and he's the one that can solve the problem versus, trying to beat your head into a wall, going the other way around. So finding the people that can help you solve the problems, getting good data so that you know what you're talking about. And then just really, it's a numbers game to find the opportunities. So, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of like numbers and data, like, what are the metrics that you personally pay attention to? Is it like deal volume, client engagement, or margins?
Right. So we typically want to see, is there, I mean, if we're trying to list and win clients, I'll put that as an example. If we're trying to win listings, obviously we want to see that there's enough inventory in the market, that it makes sense. If there's only two properties that fit kind of your category, then you've got a 50-50 chance maybe of winning one of them. And so that probably doesn't make sense. Where if you've got dozens or hundreds even of those kind of assets in the market, then that probably makes sense. The overall health of a market, if the population is shrinking or there's high unemployment or some other kind of red flags out there, those you probably want to stay away from as well. That might be an opportunity, but it could also be some warning signs that it's not the market you want to devote a lot of time and attention to. So we're looking at all those things, and then just we see a lot of more an aging ownership group, people that are probably getting set to at least think about retiring or a less active role in the assets they manage. So when we're looking at the change of ownership or reasons to do so, those are very attractive to what we're looking to do as well.
On the other side of the coin, what sort of a frustrating part of the process that's happening right now?
Sure, especially when you're going after these smaller assets. The big data groups like CoStar and some of those other firms that sell data, it's not worth their time really to have the data compiled on some of these small assets in smaller markets. And so we're having to build our own database in some ways. And then what data is there? Is it accurate? Is it reliable? And that's been a little bit of a pain point, trying to work through local county records and whatever we can scrape together to put into our own in-house database, is a pain point, but then it becomes a point of advantage because nobody else has it, because they haven't gone through those pain points, those steps. So
like if we move to like technology, like a technology perspective, and we talked about this before, increasing the role of technology in brokerage, especially for smaller firms or boutique firms like yourself. What system or tools are you currently using to run your operation on a day-to-day basis?
So obviously we have systems for our website, email communications, cell phones. Everybody has that. We do use CoStar for data. We use a platform known as Crexy or LoopNet for listings and for basically the marketing side of what we do. I also use a CRM called RealNex that ties data to property points and ownership. And so I use a lot of that to both track properties, track owners and their activities. I use that for producing our marketing. And then we use a host of different AI platforms, either to generate marketing images, help us compile data, putting up content, creating content. So we're all, I think, in the same world for brokers, trying to figure out, is this a tool we can use? How do we use it? How do we create more efficiencies? That's a big talking point for a lot of us in the brokerage world right now.
No shortage of tools, but there's definitely a shortage of people sometimes.
Right.
Are you seeing any gaps in the current technology space that you're using? Besides, you brought up one being like the size of the deal and data being available for smaller assets, from workflows,
Yeah,
and business operations.
Definitely. You're dealing with kind of some antiquated systems, especially if you're dealing with local governments. They definitely have one use for their data, and that's generally for property taxes. It's not to provide great data for brokers or investors. And so you're kind of going cross purposes there, but they hold the data. And so you've got to work with them to get at least a foundation, but then translating that into what is actionable, relevant data for our business, and finding ways for AI to kind of plow through a lot of garbage data and try to winnow out what we need and then translate it into a different system that we have in-house. That's been a challenge, but it's also been rewarding when we find something that works. And you think of all the man hours that you could have spent, having somebody do just raw data entry. So I think the potential is very exciting for what could be, but it's figuring out the systems that can talk to each other and make that happen.
Now, if we sort of start to I guess, take a future focus lens, like, if you put horizons of like 6, 12, 18 months on the calendar, what are some of the main goals? You've already mentioned you're breaking into a new market. If we say 6, 12, 18 months, what are those three horizons looking like for Cascade?
Sure. We're really hoping to generate a significant share of the volume or deal flow for the new market. We want to also maintain what we have. And so, 10% share in the market that we're in is pretty typical for a smaller firm like us. We're hoping to replicate that in the new market, whether that's 6 months or 12 months. Is really irrelevant to us at this point. We know we have to start, and the sooner we get some of those data things nailed down and working properly, the faster that process should go. But yeah, market share is really what we're driving for.
Now, a question I like to ask is, if you could solve one major challenge with the right tool, partnership, or system, what would it be?
Probably something that is client outreach focused. Once you have all these data points for hundreds of different properties, it becomes the challenge of following up with relevant, valuable data for these clients and for prospective clients, and keeping all that organized. You don't want to send somebody the same email, several days in a row. You also don't want to ignore them for 6 months at a time. And so finding that cadence, but pushing out good, relevant data and not just spamming somebody with information that they don't want. Finding a system or a group of people that can help brokers do that would be game-changing for most of us.
Now, also another, I guess from an evolution perspective, 2021 to now, there's more tech involved in a lot of day-to-day. There's a lot more systems involved, a lot more touch points, but are you seeing yourself to keep evolving with the technology and becoming like a tech-enabled brokerage, as they say, or are you wanting to expand in that sort of avenue?
I think we have to be at least qualified to use the technology that's out there. I think the people that don't or refuse to use AI will be left behind. I think just the top brokers in the next 6 to 10 years will be the ones who have adopted and can use it for their own efficiencies. And those who don't will really struggle, just because it's such a game changer for efficiency. You can either have a huge staff where you can get to using AI, and the cost benefit ratio just doesn't even come close.
Now, Jim, it's been great having you share these insights and your journey, especially with Cascade Real Estate Group, with us today. I appreciate the time you've given us to share these insights and share what's working in your market, and also where you're going to with your business. And look, if somebody wants to reach out to you, or how can people connect with you?
Our website is probably the best way to do it, cascaderealestategroup.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. It's just Jim Sanderson, CCIM, and look for Nebraska. I'm probably about the only one out there. Those are the easiest ways to get a hold of us. Yeah.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. And for our listeners, if you're a real estate business looking to scale with smarter systems and deploy AI that actually works, check out what we're building at PropLinq AI. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you.